springfieldnews-Leader.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network.
They did look on Ozarks first a little bit on Friday.
Oh, it's fine. I don't think they'll care if we repeat like
I know,
the story.
I know.
All right.
The time is 10 a.m.
When you're ready.
All right. Thank you for tuning in to the Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service. My name is Tony, and I'm here with Miss Pat, and we invite you to listen to our broadcast both live and on demand. Our live sessions are available on the Blind Community Thrift Store YouTube channel Mondays to Friday between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m. each week. Additionally, you can access on-demand content through the Audio Reader Network, which offers a wide range of audio materials for the visually impaired community. To explore content from the Audio Reader Network, please visit www.reader.ku.edu. The site provides details about accessing content via Amazon Alexa, Audio Reader Network mobile app, and information on receiving a radio to listen to the broadcast by KSMU Radio. All broadcasts are played over KSMU's subcarrier airwaves at 67 kHz on 91.1 from 3 to 5, Monday through Friday. Contact the Audio Reader Network for information on receiving a pre-programmed radio. Let's go ahead and start with the weather tonight, folks. It's gonna be cold. Right now, currently in Springfield, it's going to be a nice crisp 19 degrees, and it doesn't plan on getting any warmer than that for the rest of the week. Another cold weekend is in the books, and the weekend starts with an Arctic attack that generates snow flurries and kept highs below freezing on Saturday. The cold relaxed a little bit yesterday, Sunday, but this was after the beginning with single-digit lows. Another Arctic attack is already sweeping in from the north, and it'll make for another frigid Martin Luther King Day. I say another because this will be the third year in a row where frigid temperatures coincided with Martin Luther King Day. Last year, the high was only 22 degrees on the same day, and the year before was even worse. It was the coldest MLK Day on record, with a morning low of -4 degrees and an afternoon high of only 10. This year will almost be mild in comparison, but it'll still be dangerously cold. The Arctic front will arrive overnight with gusty winds and some clouds. A few snow flurries are also possible. Clouds will thicken up some Monday morning, making for mainly cloudy skies for the first half of the day. This will come with breezy northwest winds that will drive wind chills down into the single digits. Temperatures will be in the teens, warming up into the 20s during the afternoons as clouds gradually thin out from north to south. Temperatures will quickly tumble Monday evening, dropping into the teens again. Southwest winds will kick in overnight and start to push the frigid air mass out. This will open the door for highs in the mid-40s on Tuesday. The midweek will warm up and will continue through Wednesday and Thursday. It'll still be chilly, but we'll have sun and afternoon highs well above freezing. All of that changes as the Arctic unleashes another blast of frigid air into the country by the end of this week. The cold air should arrive on Friday, laying a foundation of cold air ahead of the unsettled weather coming out of the southwest. This is the type of pattern that can generate acclimating snow along with frigid temperatures. The window for snow appears to be later in the day on Friday or Friday evening through the first half of the weekend. Very cold air will come with the snow, and we'll be looking at a multi-day stretch of temperatures remaining well below freezing. These also will be the coldest temperatures of the winter season so far, so bundle up. Sunshine will return on Sunday, and the cold should relax after the weekend, but the pattern will remain primed to deliver another bouts of frigid weather before the end of the month.
In the interest of public safety and emergency response, the OTC is adding to their training for paramedics a simulated or an ambulance simulator. The picture shows what looks like the back half of an ambulance with the sides open so that viewers can see what is actually inside of the ambulance, and they are training new EMTs on this ambulance. This article is submitted on the 15th of January by Claudette Riley, reporter for the Springfield Business Journal. Ozarks Technical Community College is adding another ambulance simulator to its training arsenal, citing high demands for paramedicine programs. The College Board of Trustees voted January 14th to purchase the $73,570 stationary ambulance simulator from Simulator Solutions, LLC in Texas, the lowest qualified bidder. It will be used by the Alliance for Healthcare Education, which is located on the Cox North campus. The Alliance is a partnership to train healthcare workers between Ozarks Tech, Springfield Public Schools, and Missouri State University, and Cox Health. Aaron Light, Provost and Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs, says the simulator creates a valuable, realistic laboratory for students to practice required skills. Using a mannequin and the ambulance simulator, students learn how to quickly assess and treat patients so they can be transported to a hospital. You're doing it in a much more controlled environment so they're able to learn the skills and the movements and understand it better, Light said in an interview with the Springfield Business Journal. Then when they do it actually in clinical with a real patient, a real ambulance bouncing around, they're much more comfortable. Currently, Ozark Tech offers 64 seats for the 16-week EMT training. The college offers 36 seats for paramedic training. The new ambulance simulator will be the fourth one operated by Ozark Tech. It will primarily be used by middle college and Alliance students who are studying to become EMT. That allows us to expand additional EMT sections out because we now have an additional classroom lab and a simulator to do it, Light said. The new simulator is not drivable. It will be stationary. The exterior of it looks just like an ambulance. It has lights and sounds and everything that can go off. The door in the back opens up so students can get experience pulling the cart in and out with a patient in it, Light said. The neat thing is one of the sides is wide open so an observer can actually see what is happening inside the ambulance. That way you can have instruction going on at the same time of the students being in the ambulance. The other ambulance simulators are located at Ozark Tech's Lebanon Center and its Table Rock and Springfield campuses. The students feel the compressed space and how to work in and around in that space to do what they need to do. He said Ozark Tech also worked with Cox Health to train EMT apprentices. The training was primarily scheduled in the summer, but has been expanded. This again was submitted on the 15th of January by Claudette Riley to the Springfield Business Journal.
Thank you, Ms. Pat. We're going to move over to, in case you missed it, the Missouri child care payments are delayed as feds demand funding, and we're going to go into detail about this. Missouri has submitted detailed justification required to access federal funding owed to almost 2,000 child care providers across the state for services rendered in December, according to a Friday, January 19th press release. The Office of Childhood in the Missouri Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, which found it could not access the funds earlier this week, had been unable to explain the delay to child care providers because it had not received communication from the federal government before Thursday evening on January 8th. The Office of Childhood Assistant Commissioner Deidre Anderson-Barbie said that we now know how important these payments are to providers, and this is our utmost priority. The department submitted a comprehensive breakdown Friday morning to meet the requirements of the federal initiative called Defend the Spend. Its spokesman told The Independent, Defend the Spend, a system created by the now dissolved Department of Government Efficiency, requires recipients of federal funds to justify each transaction before they can receive payment. Although the state office had submitted the required documentation, child care providers still don't know when they can expect to receive payment. Lisa Shear, director of the Bading Christian Child Care in St. Louis, told The Independent that the message from the state office brings little relief. It's an answer, but it's not an answer anyone wants to hear, Shear said. To be honest, that's not going to be an answer until they say, we're paying you. Shear said her child care center relies heavily on federal funds because of the 45 children the center serves participating in the subsidy program. Families in Missouri must earn no more than 150% of the federal poverty level to qualify. Our families really rely on the services for food, for safety, Shear said. We provide area transportation and really just a safe haven for our neighborhood and community. The U.S. Health and Human Services Deputy Secretary Jim O'Neill on December 30th announced in a social media post that all the states will be required to justify their child care expenses in order to access support from the Federal Child Care and Development Fund. On Monday, January 5th, the federal department froze child care payments to 5 states, all with Democratic-led governments. The state's Office of Childhood said Friday that the federal request for information about Missouri's child care subsidy programs indicates Missouri child care funds have not been frozen. Before that communication, the cause of the delay wasn't clear. Casey Hansen, Deputy Director of Kids Win Missouri, told The Independent that the uncertainty has made the funding distribution more painful for child care providers who operate on very tight margins. In a meeting of around 160 providers on Wednesday, January 7th, Hansen said many of them were frustrated and upset. Some providers, who mostly serve families who receive subsidies, are at a point to be turning those families away if they don't have reserves, and a lot of small providers really don't, Hansen continues. Shear, who was in the meeting, said she's trying to delay costs where she can. She agreed with her husband that she won't draw a paycheck until federal funding comes through, but she realizes her employees, who are mostly single women, can't do that. While Shear said she is committed to keeping her doors open, she's not sure how long the center would be able to operate without subsidy payments. It's trying to make sure my employees' needs are met so that they can still show up for their children, so the children's needs are met, so the parents can still go to work and be there for their children, Shear continues on. It's just a lot of unknown. This article was brought to us by Steph Quinn and Annalise Hanshaw of the Missouri Independent. There you go.
Back on food, but a whole different subject. On the 18th, which was just Saturday, hundreds of people came out for the sixth annual, had to check the year, sixth annual Mac and Cheese Fest in Springfield, which occurred on the 18th. Only problem is the Saturday was the 17th, so there's an error here, but we'll deal with it. The festival brought together dozens of vendors, local families, and even a playful mac and cheese burglar, all celebrating one of America's favorite dishes. This event was hosted by OCAC to raise money for community support programs across southwest Missouri. Lindsay Dumas-Bell of OCAC said the event continues to grow each year. People love mac and cheese, Dumas-Bell said. Who can resist it, especially on a cold winter day? Cold outside, warm and cheesy, delicious inside. It's a good combo. This year's festival featured 50 vendors and 23 varieties of mac and cheese, ranging from classic recipes to creative twists. Organizers said turnout exceeded expectations. We almost doubled our pre-ticket sales from last year, Dumas-Bell said, and then we saw a lot of people out the door. For many, the festival has become a family tradition and a way to give back. Barry and Gloria Mama G. Harrison have won People's Choice 3 years in a row. We love to compete, but we also love to support the community, Harrison said. We're a family-owned business. We started about 4 years ago in honor of my mom, who passed away about 14 years ago. My daughters, my dad, and our employees have been my backbone through it all. The events also highlighted new talent, including youth winner Emma Woodward, who took home a top prize. Today I won the mac and cheese contest and I got the award for it and I love it, Woodward said, holding her award. Woodward is part of the Rogue Chef team from Branson, which entered the competition after a client told them they had the best mac and cheese in the world. Mrs. Dr. Dana Woodward, representing the Rogue Chef, said the team was proud to place across multiple categories. We won the Rogue Chef out of Branson, Missouri, Woodward said. Emma is a representative of our nonprofit, Miss Emma's Foundation, which helps the hearing impaired. We're excited today to have won second and third place. Organizers say ticket sold helps fund OCAC programs, including food assistance, utility support, and family services throughout southwest Missouri. Tony?
Well, thank you. We'll go ahead and just in case you missed it from last week, a man proposed underwater during a shark dive at the Wonders of Wildlife Aquarium. For most people, jumping in an aquarium full of sharks sounds neither enticing nor romantic, but for one couple from Michigan, it was the perfect backdrop to signify the next step in their relationship, an engagement. David Balassa had planned a nearly week-long road trip across the Midwest with his girlfriend of 2 years, Haley Weora, as a Christmas gift. Planning, taken on by Balassa with the help of some friends, took months to nail down. They traveled through Kentucky, Tennessee, Illinois, and more, stopping at various attractions to check off the bucket list items. Stopping along the way includes Buc-ee's, the lunch at Ford's Garage, a visit to the Superman Museum in the Metropolis, Illinois, and another aquarium, Ripley's Aquarium of the Smokies in Gatlinburg, where the couple enjoyed a hotel room stay below the sharks. Peoria had no idea what was going on because she was normally the planner, the packer, and the whole trip runner, while her husband was typically the little passenger princess. But this time, she didn't have to worry because he did all the planning. Prior to the trip, the two were already set on getting married. Eventually, so Weora said she already had her suspicions ahead of the trip. But Balassa had told her this was not a proposal trip, so she tempered her expectations. Still, she said, she held out hope at each beautiful pit stop the couple made along the way. The final stop on their trip, just past the 2-year anniversary of their first date after matching on Hinge, was an extra special occasion Weoria had been hoping for. Balassa reached out to Springfield's Wonders of Wildlife National Museum and Aquarium about coordinating a proposal during the out-to-sea shark dive, an experience that allowed aquarium visitors to come face-to-fin with sharks while inside a steel enclosure. By the time the couple reached WOW on December 15th, everything was set to make the exotic proposal go smoothly. Balassa said he knew water had to be a part of the proposal. Weoria, who grew up in Muskegon, Michigan, right next to Lake Michigan, and spent countless days on the water, she had worked at a water park as a lifeguard instructor, and more recently, taught swimming lessons. She's always been considered somewhat a fish out of water, she says. Despite Balassa not being as fond of the water as Weoria, having grown up in Nebraska, he said the only nerves he was feeling ahead of the shark dive were about getting on one knee. To ensure the engagement ring was not lost at sea, as the couple spent several minutes in the tank dressed in special suits, Balassa pulled out a ring box holding a shark tooth as a temporary symbol and asked Weoria to marry him via a poster crafted for the occasion by the WOW staff. Besides the sharks that witnessed the proposal, Balassa also arranged for Weoria's family to make the 10-hour drive and join the couple during the special occasion. The family was able to witness and celebrate the proposal from the exhibition's viewing area. That was not the only way Balassa put extra thought into the special occasion, however. The engagement ring included diamonds from Weoria's grandmother's ring and her late brother's birthstone, with some of his ashes set behind it. Though the couple had been engaged for only a month, preparations were already underway for the wedding. Since the two were already sure they were going to tie the knot prior to the underwater engagement, they had already had a venue booked and were working on sending out their save the dates. Weoria had already picked out her dress too, with stars aligning before she knew the proposal was happening. Before setting out on the Midwest road trip, she had seen a local wedding dress shop having a holiday giveaway promotion and booked a visit for December 20th. Unable to pass on the deal that same day, just 5 days after saying yes to Balassa's proposal, Weoria also said yes to the dress. As wedding planning ramps up, the couple told the News-Leader the water theme will remain with the engagement memories and the wedding will instead celebrate a night under the stars in tune with another hobby of theirs, stargazing. The week traveled and eventually leading up to the engagement will be part of the wedding. The couple brought games and playing cards at nearly every stop along the way. For their wedding, they said, they will incorporate the cards, writing anecdotes of their memories made along the way to share with their loved ones. This article was brought to us in part by Marta Mies with the Springfield News-Leader. There you go.
Of interest to Springfield homeowners or Springfield residences with driveways, last week, the Springfield County Council, or City Council, passed an update to the driveway code. This may have already been read, but I think it's pretty important, so we're going to go with it again. A revision to City Code that passed by a 7-2 vote at last night's Springfield City Council meeting, so that would have been on the 12th, changes requirements for driveways within the city limits, but not before a council member who is also a civil engineer raised concerns. Council member Derek Lee offered an amendment to the legislation, but the amendment failed by 5-4 votes. Despite support from Lee, Mayor Jeff Schrog, Heather Hardiger, and Callie Carroll, Schrog and Lee cast the 2 no votes for the bill itself. The code revision offers that the legislation calls for a performance-based framework for managing driveways, access points, and intersections. The written explanation of the bill states that the updates reflect national best practices for access management and that they are intended to improve safety, maintain traffic flow, reduce conflict points, and protect the city's infrastructure investment. Lee's chief objection, however, was that the code revision limited the ability of business owners to appeal. Lee said his intent was to allow a hearing so people can express what they need, why they need a driveway, and P&Z, Planning and Zoning, can then decide. Throughout our development code, one of the things that we have talked about that a lot of businesses communicated to us was that they wanted an appeal process, he said. That was something I heard over and over again. Lee said that the new code includes fewer opportunities for appeal than the one that currently exists. The Planning and Zoning Commission reviews subdivisions and uses language that he is proposing, he said. The language that the city of Springfield put in was much more robust denial of allowing people to have a review, he said. He said that a busy street does not allow driveways, and that doesn't take into account certain individual situations. He offered some examples. The Planning and Zoning Board, they took other things into consideration while they did consider the traffic. All of that still has to be presented, he said. This is really about access to a board where small businesses can be heard. He added that his amendment would not change any of the actual criteria for driveways. I have said many things about driveways over the last few years, he said. One of the comments I've made is this city of Springfield will literally take a business's last driveway and require them to take access from a neighbor. That kind of thing, whereas the Missouri Department of Transportation looks more at your last driveway and puts precedence on that. Chad Zickfus, city traffic engineer, responded to some questions from the council. He said, driveway location and spacing affects crash risk, especially along heavily traveled arterial expressways and busy intersections. He said the proposed language would specify that highest risk, highest access decisions remain at the engineer level review rather than that of a discretionary body. Zickfus said that the proposed legislation would protect the function and safety of major corridors and encourage shared and cross-access easements in keeping with the city's forward SGF comprehension plan. It also matches the goals of reducing piecemeal access decisions that degrade corridor performance and economic vitality, and ensures that the access decisions consider the long-term network impacts and adjacent properties and just not the individual parcels, he said. He added that the proposed language had been vetted over the past year by stakeholders and reviewed by professional organizations like the Institute of Transportation Engineers. He said Lee's proposed amendment would make city staff's job more challenging. He added that appeals would continue to be permitted for lower classification roadways like collectors and locals. It puts limitations on the appeals on those high-volume, high-impact roadways, he said of the new code. We feel that those decisions should be based on engineer reviews. In voicing his support for the measure, Councilmember Brandon Jensen stressed safety. We also published the 2024 crash report that indicates we are the 13th least safe city for driving in the entire country, he said. He cited the Federal Highway Administration's recommendation to reduce the density of access points through the driveway closure, consolidation, and relocation, the intent of the legislation. The federal guidance appears to tell us that we should adopt the text as staff has presented it, but that may not mean that it makes sense for our community, he said. Jensen noted, however, that forward SGF identifies consolidating driveway placements and property access to improve safety. While I understand the desire to have an appeals process, I am not sure that relying on the appeals process within our current code, which has resulted in the dangerous mess of access points we currently have, is the best strategy for moving our city forward, he said. He also said that a vote in favor of amendment prioritizes prioritizes concerns of businesses over the safety risk of the community. Lee responded that nothing in his amendment changed any criteria. The only thing this does is allow a board to consider all of those issues along with a unique site and say, hey, in this situation, this doesn't make sense. This business is worth saving. He said, I literally do this, so there's been a number of occasions where the fact that we denied a driveway made it less safe. Councilmember Craig Hosmer said council should prioritize safety as the most important thing it can do. I do think that we shouldn't jeopardize public safety for the desires of a unique situation, even if it's a business situation, he said. Council's ultimate passage of the driveway management section of code aligns it with a recently passed land development code, which emphasizes the desirability of cross-access easements between business, Zickfuss said. Tony.
Well, thank you. I'm going to go ahead and kind of continue off of what you were talking about here and talk about some tragedies we've got. In the Pulaski County, Missouri, a man has been seriously injured after a crash involving a semi-truck on Sunday, January 18th. According to the Missouri State Highway Patrol, the crash report, the 59-year-old Alberta, California man was injured around 8:24 a.m. yesterday on I-44 going eastbound around the 150-mile marker. The report indicates the crash occurred as a California man was driving a 1998 Kenworth semi-truck east when it struck the rear of a 25-year-old Brampton, Ontario man's 2021 Volvo. Both individuals were reported to be wearing a seatbelt during the incident, and the Missouri State Highway Patrol says the California man was transported to Phelps Health for his injuries. As well as Taney County, Missouri, 3 people were seriously injured on Friday evening in a 2-vehicle crash west of the Merriam Woods, according to the Missouri State Highway Patrol crash report. The report says the crash occurred around 6:05 in the afternoon on January 16th on Missouri Route F, about 1 mile west of Merriam Woods. The 2013 Dodge Ram 1500 was traveling east, crossed the center line, and struck a westbound 2005 Chevrolet Tahoe head-on, the patrol reported. 3 occupants of the Ram, including a 26-year-old woman from Merriam Woods, suffered serious injuries and were transported by ambulance to Cox Medical South in Springfield. None of the Ram's occupants were wearing seatbelts, according to the report. The Tahoe was driven by a 63-year-old man from Rockaway Beach who was wearing a seatbelt. The patrol reports that his vehicle sustained extensive damage and was towed from the scene. The Ram in question was totaled and also towed. There you go.
Events coming up soon at the Carnegie Branch Library here in Springfield. This is in the Springfield News-Leader and was posted just this morning. Discover something new at the Midtown Carnegie Branch Library. This is not just books, but events as well. There's always something happening at the Midtown Carnegie Branch Library, from creative gatherings to hands-on learning and fresh chances to explore new skills. With both a maker space and the library's district computer training center on site, this branch offers a mix of programs and tools you won't find anywhere else. Here's a look at what's coming up and what's available anytime you want to jump in. Book blankets, crochet and conversion. Settle in for a cozy creative afternoon from 3 to 5 Tuesday, January 27th in the makerspace. Bring your current read and craft a granny square inspired by its cover while you chat with fellow crocheters. All skill levels are welcome and materials are provided. Sounds a little clever. Teens tour the makerspace. Teens aged 12 to 18 can get an inside look at the makerspace from 3 to 5 p.m. Friday, January 30th. Start in the teen room, then we'll head downstairs to explore the machines and learn how to use them by creating a button, a bookmark, and sticker to take home. National Seed Swap Day. Celebrate National Seed Swap Day from 1 to 3 p.m. January the 31st. On Saturday, bring seeds of any kind to trade with other gardeners or join the fun even if you don't have seeds to share. Kids can stop by the teen room to make a craft. Materials will be provided. Check out the Makerspace Open Studio. Curious about creating? Drop in on our Open Studio on Wednesday from 1 to 5 p.m. or Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. for ages 12 and older. It's perfect for first-time tours, last-minute projects, and creatives who already have a little experience using Makerspace equipment. Staff will be available to help troubleshoot, and equipment is first come, first served. Explore a one-on-one computer help and more. Midtown Carnegie Branch is also home to the library's Computer Training Center, where you can schedule individualized technology help. Call 417-837-5011 to reserve an hour with a staff member. We can help with specific questions about using your tablet or smartphone, creating and using an email account, getting started with Microsoft Office products, and more. Please have your specific questions in mind when you make your appointment. This article was submitted by Morgan Shannon to the Springfield News-Leader this morning, January 19th, 2026. Tony.
Well, thank you. In other news, the new Target is being built. Not yet, but soon, the official word of Target says, when it's coming to announce the opening date of its newest store in the city. While shoppers anticipate the debut of the new store on West Sunshine at the West Bypass, they are seeing hints that the wait won't be much longer. This week, crews completed the installation of the outside signage. The iconic Target bullseye logo now adorns the exterior, as well as the entry signs near the roadway. The parking lot has been stripped, and the cart corrals have already been installed. We reached out to a Target spokesperson for details on when the store will be open to the public. She stated, "We don't have a date to share yet, but we'll have more to share soon." The new Target will be the anchor of the Sunshine Town Center. Other businesses opening in the complex in recent months include Olive Garden, Blue Currant, and Wendy's. Additional retail space is currently under construction to the east of Target. Tenants for that space have not been announced yet. Ozarks First brought you word of Target's announcement in the summer of 2023. At the time, the retailer chose not to release the timeline for construction and a grand opening. The lack of visible construction work at the site led some viewers to ask if the project was still on. However, by early 2024, groundwork was well underway, and major construction of the building itself began in 2025. Last January, a Target spokesperson told Ozarks First, "We're excited to bring a easy, affordable, and convenient shopping experience to new guests in the Springfield community with this Target store. Located at the southeast intersection of West Sunshine Street on Missouri Route 413 and West Bypass, the U.S. Highway 160. The store will be approximately 148,000 square feet. As we get closer to opening the store, we'll have more specific details to share, including how the shopping experience will be tailored to serve local guests and the grand opening date." The new store will be Target's second location in Springfield and fourth in the southwest Missouri area, and it'll be larger than the retailer's current store on South Glenstone. Back to you.
Missouri lawmakers are considering a boost to the gifted education and testing system here in Missouri. This article was posted by Annalise Henshaw just yesterday on January 18th in the Springfield News-Leader. More Missouri public school students could receive gifted education under two proposals debated at the House Education Committee Thursday, January the 15th. State Representative Brenda Shields, a Republican from St. Joseph, is sponsoring a bill that would require schools to screen all students to determine if they qualify as gifted before they reach third grade. She estimates that there are more than 20,000 Missouri students that are gifted but not currently enrolled in specialized classes. The bill expands on a state law that requires schools to offer gifted education when at least 3% of their student body is identified as gifted. This requirement began last school year. If screenings don't happen, gifted and talented students aren't identified, she told the committee. If the students aren't identified, schools will never reach the 3% threshold to be able to offer a gifted program. Gifted students can present as squirrely or distracted in the classroom, Shields said, with thoughts and ideas beyond the basic curriculum. Providing a more enriching education will help both the students and their teacher, she said. Beth Winton, chair of the Advisory Council on the Education of Gifted and Talented Children, agreed that many gifted students are not always a pleasure to have in class. The standard grade level curriculum is not designed to meet their academic or emotional needs, she said, and regular teachers already have enough demands on their time. Committee members largely spoke in favor of the bill, sharing personal anecdotes of their experiences in the classroom as teachers, parents, and former students. State Representative Ann Kelly, a Republican from Lamar, said gifted education provides a needed challenge for some kids. Kelly, who taught 8th grade English, said she saw students who were never identified as gifted but could benefit from the program. By 8th grade, they don't really test very many students at that point. And if they've been missed in that window, they've already checked out, she said. The largest concern came from State Representative Mark Boyko, a Democrat from Kirkwood, who wondered if requiring schools to start screening by this fall is too tight of a timeline. As someone who has been on school boards, I know that drafting a good policy for a district is a process that takes a number of months, he said. So I have concerns that the bill starts one school year too early. Bolstering Shields legislation, a bill by Representative Scott Miller, would ensure districts have the resources to educate gifted students by adding a line to the formula that determines state aid for public schools. High-quality gifted programs are often includes advanced curriculum, specialized instructional strategies, social-emotional supports with trained educators, and individualized learning pathways, Miller, a St. Charles Republican, told the committee. These services require additional staffing, materials, and professional infrastructure, all of which come at a greater cost than general education alone. His bill would fund gifted students 60% higher than the base per pupil amount. Based on this state's current per pupil funding, this means schools would receive an additional $4,287 per gifted student. This number may decrease if the bill moves along in the legislative process. The committee's chair, State Representative Ed Lewis, a Moberly Republican, told Miller the multiplier was pretty high. The bill's fiscal note estimates it would have an annual cost of nearly $121.5 million, though Miller questioned the accuracy of the estimate. Lobbyists for education groups such as the Missouri State Teachers Association and the Missouri Association of School Administrators spoke in favor of the funding boost. The state really does need to have a component in the formula to support gifted students, said Otto Fahan, lobbyist for Teachers Union, Missouri National Education Association. It is critical. The committee did not take action on the bills on January 15th. This article was first published in the Missouri Independent and was reprinted in the Springfield News-Leader. It was submitted by Annalise Hanshaw.
Thank you, Ms. Pat. To kind of further extend that point there, we're going to be talking about the Library Center here in Springfield. A 6-figure donation from a Springfield couple will help library users research and preserve their family's history by offering access to special technology. With a $280,000 donation from Larry and Trace Lipscomb, the Springfield Greene County Library District seeks to build a Catherine Cox Lipscomb Memory Lab in the Library Center Genealogy Department. The branch is located at 4753 South Campbell Avenue. The library's Board of Trustees will consider accepting the donation during its regular meeting set for January 20th. If accepted, it will accomplish a goal the board set back in May as part of its strategic plan. Bridget Dirks, director of the Institutional Advancement for the library, said the Lipscombs were drawn to the project based on the work the family has done with the library to preserve history of the Lipscomb and Cox families. Larry Lipscomb is the grandson of Lester E. Cox and nephew to Lester L. Cox, members of the family that founded Cox Health. The lab is named in honor of the Lipscomb's mother, Catherine Kitty Copscomb Cox Lipscomb, who is the youngest child of Lester E. and Mildred Cox, a longtime supporter and benefactor of the hospital. She has also served on a number of boards and was passionate about preserving history. They have profoundly impacted the Ozarks, and the direction of the community has grown, so I think they'll really understand the importance of people being able to preserve their own family's history. The Memory Lab will include a variety of equipment patrons can use related to the family research and memorabilia under 2 general areas. The first one being the preservation of existing materials, where the lab will offer a variety of equipment that has helped convert photo albums, video recordings, and more into longer-lasting digital materials. The second will be the creation of new materials. The lab will offer a recording room and other meeting rooms where family members can meet comfortably and record their stories from their loved ones. Such memory labs are becoming popular across the country, says a Brian Grubbs, local history and genealogy manager for the library. One of the reasons for the popularity is how library staff members can assist people with using the equipment. Grubbs adds on that the Memory Lab provides an opportunity to educate our library users about preservation and provide innovative technology and connect families together through genealogy. The library hopes the Memory Lab will include equipment such as color printers, a document scanner, a video-to-digital converter, a digitizer for 8mm film, and converters for mini DV, 8mm, and VHS recordings. Such equipment can be costly to obtain for researchers, Dirks adds on, especially considering that each piece might be only used once. The use of the equipment will be free to library cardholders. While preserving media is important, Dirks said that the recording room will be just as important as well. It will feature a couch, a coffee table, and will also include prompts that people can use to start conversations with family members. I think that's really helpful for people who have elderly loved ones with whom they want to have meaningful conversations or just record the memories, Dirk said. I think this is an opportunity what we would all love to have. We all can think of someone that we wish we had had the opportunity in the past, so I think patrons will find it greatly beneficial. Pending the board's acceptance, the library hopes to seek bids for its construction this spring, Dirk says. Work can be completed later this year. According to the architectural renderings from SAP Design Architects, the lab will be built in and around an area currently surrounded by Greek dormant columns adjacent to the genealogy department, and the board is scheduled to meet at 4 p.m. on January 2nd at the Library Center. This report was brought to you in part by Joe Hatsall of the Springfield Daily Citizen. Back to you, Miss Pat.
Well, this is pretty exciting stuff. The Discovery Center here in Springfield is selected as a STEM innovation hub by NASA. This was actually submitted on the 16th of January, but I don't believe it's been read to you yet. The Discovery Center of Springfield, Inc. has garnered prestigious designation by NASA, making it the only STEM innovator in Missouri. Tyler Moles, CEO of the nonprofit Science Center, confirmed the project on January 16th. We have a relationship with NASA for several years now, and we've hosted some of their traveling exhibits, but we were never the official STEM partner of the region. The designation includes $250,000 award to support a 3-year project to create classroom curriculum, professional development for educators, and a licensable exhibit, all focused on the Moon to Mars program. The programs will be available to libraries, museums, and schools. Students in this area will benefit tremendously from having direct access to these programs, Education on the Moon to Mars program, and trying to figure out ways to solve programs related to that. It puts us in line to build an even bigger partnership with NASA that could benefit the state. Moles said the content aims to prepare students to contribute to the space workforce, solve the problems of tomorrow, and increase their knowledge of science, technology, engineering, and math, or STEM. It's all about upstream workforce development. We need Missouri's children seeing that they can be the ones to solve problems that we don't even know exist yet, said Moles in a news release. This work inspires a lifelong interest in STEM, building the literacy and innovation needed to shape the future of space exploration. Moles said there was an extensive application process and praised the work of center leaders Hunter Bartlett, Director of Operations, and Rihanna Clark, Vice President of Education. They've put massive amounts of work into this, said Moles. It's going to be a very big deal. More details are expected to be released at the January 30th press event. Pretty exciting. Tony.
Indeed. Now on to some different news now. A Rogersville man who was allegedly assaulted at Club Rodeo last summer is suing the Springfield nightclub, claiming the bar served the underage suspect alcohol. Hunter Rogers, 19 of Sparta, has been charged with a Class A felony of first-degree assault, serious physical injury. He was booked into Greene County Jail on October 22nd, but has since been bonded out. The alleged assault happened around 12:03 a.m. on August 22nd, 2025. You're good. At Club Rodeo, 2032 West Bennett Street. The victim and plaintiff in the civil suit filed on January 12th suffered 2 broken bones in his nose and a possible punctured vein that caused multiple excessive nosebleeds. As a result, the victim had been admitted to the hospital multiple times and had to receive a blood transfusion, according to the court documents. In the civil suit, the plaintiff alleges that Club Rodeo was negligent in allowing the underage Rogers to consume alcohol before Rogers allegedly assaulted the plaintiff. Rogers is also named as the defendant in the petition, as well as Daniel Starnes, the agent and resident licensee for Club Rodeo. According to the probable cause statement from the criminal case against Rogers, he and a group of friends were involved in another assault on January 7th, 2025 at Club Rodeo. It doesn't appear Rogers was charged in connection with the January case, but according to the civil suit, Club Rodeo and its bartenders served Hunter Rogers an excessive amount of alcohol, which rendered him intoxicated, and continued to serve him alcohol after he was visibly intoxicated and extremely impaired on the night of the August assault. Club Rodeo, located at 2032 1 Bennett Street, is open to customers 18 and up. According to the website, patrons must be 21 or older to be served alcohol. Club Rodeo did not immediately respond to the request for comments regarding the lawsuit. This is not the first time Club Rodeo has been sued for allegedly serving alcohol to a minor. The parents of a Logan Rogersville High School student who died when his friend drunkenly crashed a vehicle in Greene County sued Club Rodeo for allegedly serving alcohol to the underage driver. The parents of Gavon Bear filed a wrongful death suit on November 21st, 2024 against Club Rodeo, the club's registered agent, and one of their bartenders. Benjamin Sugg, the driver, was 18 when the fatal crash happened on January 16th, 2023. There was a passenger in Sugg's vehicle and died as a result of the injuries from the crash. Sugg pleaded guilty in 2024 to the crimes of driving while intoxicated, causing the death of another, and leaving the scene of an accident. He was sentenced in April to 7 years in prison. According to online court records, the wrongful death suit was recently settled with Club Rodeo and its agents not admitting liability, but agreeing to pay the plaintiffs a confidential amount. We can thank Ms. Jackie Raywald for this from the Springfield Daily Citizen. Back to you.
The Christian County Library Board set a new priority on collections policy. This, I presume, is to collect fees for their overdue books, but we will see here. This from the Springfield News-Leader just this morning. Going into 2026, the Christian County Library Board of Trustees, which has experienced a turbulent few years, is ready to correct course and set a vision for accomplishment in 2026 as the new executive director takes on his first full year as the leader of the library district. The board held a special work session meeting on Friday, January 16th, to align with the trustees and executives' director goals and set a timeline on some of the higher priority items. Both Executive Director Will Bleidenberg and the board were set on revisions to the library's collections development policy, that being a top goal in 2026. The topic was raised prior to Bleidenberg's onboarding, but punted to give the director the reins on exploring changes in the policy. The policy would focus on what criteria are used to determine which books are added to the collection and what the acquisition process looks like. Has nothing to do with collection fees on overdue books. The board's Policy and Bylaws Subcommittee has suggested a collections policy during a broader effort to revamp the policies and remove language from the American Library Association. That drafted policy specifically focuses on children's and teens section and used selection criteria such as age appropriateness, content sensitivity, literary and educational value, and parental control. Blydenberg told the board he expects to present a draft of the policy at its next meeting on February 24th, though expects the matter to take several months to finalize and work in chunks. He also said he hopes to have a draft of a new reconsideration form specific to children's and youth materials in March. Blydenberg said the new form will likely include 6 to 7 categories that those with concerns could fill out and rank according to how egregious they consider the material to be pertaining to that content category. They would consider the material to be. Staff would then use the same ranking system and see where the two evaluations line up. While not considered yet, he said there would be an online version of that form also. Other topics discussed during Friday's nearly 3-hour-long meeting included the desire for the board to have easier access to the library's financials through streamlined software, exploring ways AI could be used or incorporated to help patrons and staff, and several beautification and community engagement initiatives in the works for 2026, including a bird feeder live camera feed on the Ozarks branch. A new trustee is joining the board. The new trustee joined Thursday, January 15th, to represent the Ozark area on the board, while all 3 commissioners interviewed applicants separately and cast blind votes during the Thursday meeting. All picked Kristen Roussel for the position. Roussel was one of 6 applicants. According to Roussel's board application, provided to the News-Leader in accordance with Missouri Sunshine Law, she works as a legal assistant. In her application, Roussel said serving as a trustee was a way to give back to the community for a library that she visited as a young girl. She indicated that the board should focus on ensuring the library remains a welcoming, educational, and fiscally responsible resource for the community. Roussel wrote that the library could improve in the way that it engages with the community. Roussel will take the spot from that former trustee Diana Brazale stepped down from at the end of 2025 due to health issues. Roussel's first meeting is expected to be in February. This was submitted by Marta Mize just this morning in the Springfield News-Leader. Okay. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Here. In other news, a little pupper decided to make some big moves a couple days ago. A Springfield man is currently in jail, accused of holding a woman hostage and using her as a human shield while brandishing a firearm at law enforcement officers last week. Clinton John Hayes, 36, is charged with a Class A felony of first-degree kidnapping, armed criminal action, resisting arrest, and 2 counts of unlawful possession of a firearm. According to the probable cause statement, Haynes' most recent alleged crimes took place on the evening of January 8th. Deputies with the Greene County Sheriff's Office responded around 10:15 p.m. to a welfare check and possible hostage situation, including Haynes, a wanted fugitive, near Highway 160 and Farm Road 115 near Willard. While deputies were searching for Haynes, officers with the Springfield Police Department located the suspect vehicle at a McDonald's at 114 West Kearney Street. According to the probable cause statement, deputies arrived on the scene and witnessed Haynes running from police officers towards the victim. As Haynes approached the victim, he was holding a pistol in his right hand, according to the statement. He then began hugging the woman in what appeared to be an attempt to use her as a human shield, a Greene County detective wrote in the probable cause statement. Haynes would not drop the pistol, the detectives wrote, although he received numerous commands from officers and deputies to do so. According to the probable cause statement, the woman knocked the pistol from Haynes' hand during the scuffle, and when Haynes allegedly attempted to reach and pick up the gun, she began clinging to him, preventing Haynes from retrieving the gun. Springfield police officers forced the victim and Haynes to the ground, and deputies removed the gun from the vicinity of the struggle. Haynes was on top of the victim, gripping her around the abdomen, and officers were unable to release her. Then here comes the doggo. This is where the Greene County Sheriff's Office K-9 team was deployed. The K-9 officer, Leroy, of Belgian Malinois, engaged Haynes on his right knee and left ankle, which allowed deputies to take Haynes into custody. The recovered pistol was a Ruger 9mm semi-automatic handgun, silver and black, and was loaded with a round in the chamber when it was removed from Clinton's possession, the detective wrote. I attempted to interview Clinton, but he didn't want to talk with me. The detective continues. Clinton is a violent person who has had a documented criminal history of homicide or attempted homicide. He was armed when law enforcement located him, and he was brandishing a pistol, the detective continued, and he had to be forcefully taken into custody and attempted to retrieve his pistol after it was knocked from his hand. He would also not release victim 1, who was a prior victim of another case. In a social media post from Greene County Sheriff Jim Arnott, this is a great example of local law enforcement coming together, using available resources, and taking a serious threat out of our community. I'm proud we were able to apprehend the suspect without further issue. Haynes is currently being held without bond. He is set for bond review and preliminary hearings in February. We can thank Ms. Jackie Raywald from the Daily Citizen for this article. Back to you.
The Blind Community Thrift Store is a spacious 17,000 square foot thrift store located in Springfield, Missouri. It holds the distinction of being the first retail store worldwide to incorporate Navi lens technology, which significantly enhances accessibility for the blind, visually impaired, and non-English speaking individuals. This innovative system enables customers to navigate and shop with minimal assistance, fostering independence and confidence. The store operates on a nonprofit organization dedicated to generating funds that support the provision of adaptive technology and training for the blind and visually impaired community, often at little or no cost. Visitors can learn more about the organization and access its services by visiting the store in person at 2713 North Kansas Expressway, Springfield, Missouri, or by exploring the website at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The website offers comprehensive information about the store's mission, services, and opportunities for community involvement, as well as details about the free store available to residents in the Springfield area. Come shop soon.
All right, to take a little fun turn now, we're going to be talking about some little snow day superstitions brought to you by Tom Schmidt of the Ozarks First. A few superstitions he has said that might help us out during these times of harsh winter is, number 1, to put a spoon under your pillow. It's a fun way to wish for a snow day so you don't have to go to school or work the next day. The spoon is meant to symbolize a snow shovel, and this silly superstition offers hope to children wanting to get out of school the next day. It's a harmless activity for them to talk about with their friends. Or, if you're not into spoons under pillows, you can wear your pajamas inside out. This superstition has been around for nearly 50 years, and the idea is that flipping your PJs inside out will tell Mother Nature to flip the weather pattern towards winter. Maybe we can convince Mother Nature to turn the heat on. That'd be nice. Another superstition is flushing ice down the toilet. It's a strange one, but flushing ice down the toilet is seen as a funny superstition to guarantee a snow day. The trick is to flush an equal amount of ice cubes for each inch of snow you'd like. Another one would be placing white crayons on the windowsill. By doing so, it's supposed to encourage the sky to turn white in response. Silly, but put the superstition right up there with salting a rabbit's tail to help you catch it. Another thing is to eat ice cream. It sounds easy, but ice cream can help boost the morale for anybody not looking forward to an incoming snow day. If you're feeling low because of the incoming snow, then a bowl of ice cream might just be what you need. Lastly, for mainly the kids here, don't forget about yelling into your freezer before bed. Supposedly, the freezer is supposed to be motivated to freeze the outdoors. It sounds made up, but it's a nice little superstition with the kids. But if you do it all together, yell snow day into your freezer while wearing your pajamas inside out, while leaving spoons under your pillow, we might just have too much snow that we can handle. Back to you, Miss Pat.
Okay, out of the Springfield Daily Citizen posted just this past Thursday, the last remaining tenant says he will be displaced by demolition of the former Panera building on National. The Barbershop Deluxe's owner, Court Ketron, said the property owner spoke to him around early December 2025 and laid out intentions to demolish the building in 2026. There's a picture of the building here at that location. The building that formerly housed Panera and Brown Derby will be demolished this year, displacing the only business tenant left on the southeast corner of National Avenue and Elm Street, according to Court Ketron, ownership of the Barbershop Deluxe. Ketron said the property owner spoke to him around early December 2025 and laid out intentions to demolish the building in 2026. Deluxe would have to move from its home of about 15 years at 1206 East Elm Street. Ketron said the tiny shop on the corner has been home to a barber business since 1949. The once bustling property is owned by Nouvelle Realty LLC, which is registered to Joanne Jung, a sister to Springfield's billionaire Johnny Morris, founder of Bass Pro Shops. Spanning a corner lot, the property is listed as 500 to 530 South National Avenue and 1206 to 1208 East Elm. Man, you know this building has been numbered for a while, Ketron said at the shop January 13th. The owner came to me not too long ago and said she's going to have it torn down. She doesn't have a buyer, and that's what she said to me. Ketron said the early December meeting with Jung was amicable and he was given plenty of time to lease a new building. In early January, the Barbershop Deluxe announced on Facebook it will open at 1667 East St. Louis Street on February 24th, 2026. Jung's visit to the barbershop was very, very respectful, Ketron said. It's not like I just got booted out. I don't want anybody to say that. She told me that the building was coming down, but she didn't know when. No demolition permit is currently on file with the city, and it follows a string of other business closures. In the interview with Daily Citizen, Ketron said crews had been out to inspect certain aspects of the property in the last few weeks. Some men inspected the pipes in his shop, and at a later date, a crew came out to make various measurements. The city of Springfield does not show any active cases for the property and has not issued any of the required permits for demolition, Cora Scott, the city's Director of Public Information and Civic Engagement, said in a January 13 email to Daily Citizen. Multiple attempts to reach Jung for comment on this article were not successful. Nouvelle Realty lists its contact as the address of Brown Derby Wine Center at 2023 South Glenstone. Due to renovations, the wine center is closed. Joanne Chung and her husband Ron own the wine center. The nearly 22,000 square foot property at the corner of National and Elm was last sold in 2008, according to Greene County Assessor Office records. The property was appraised at $1.08 million. This in late 2024, the city designated the property as blighted, according to previous Daily Citizen reporting. The building was home to Panera, known as St. Louis Bread Company for a lengthy period, for about 30 years. The bread and coffee business permanently closed after a vehicle drove through the wall of the restaurant in early 2023. Later that year, Brown Derby, which was the unit next to Panera, closed its doors. The liquor store business closed a number of its businesses, Springfield stores, at that time. For over 2 years, the Barbershop Deluxe has been the only business left at the once bustling property. 75-plus year run of barbershop business. While Ketron is excited for the move, the barbershop owner said it will be hard to officially say goodbye to a location he has owned for 15 years. That same location held a legacy as a barbershop for more than 75 years. The truth is, I hate to leave the old joint, so I hung out as long as I could. For fans of the barbershop, don't worry, the trinkets, decorations, and furniture that adorn the shop will all be coming with the business in the move, Ketron said. The new store on St. Louis Street will be bigger, and the barber said he is looking forward to having additional space. It is a little bit bigger of a space, but it's not unmanageable, Ketron said. I'm looking forward to being able to spread out a little bit. Ketron said he doesn't see the move affecting his business much. The new storefront is close in proximity to the old, and it's just Ketron working. He usually fills up his schedule with appointments. The Barbershop Deluxe will continue to operate out of the Elm Street location until the move in late February. This article was submitted by Ryan Collins of the Springfield Daily Citizen just this past week. And we hope the best for Ketron and his move coming up in February. Tony.
Well, thank you. We're going to move on to other businesses in Springfield now by talking about what restaurants you might want to stay away from for a little bit as we talk about the health code violations. The Apple Market on 500 South Miller Road in Willard has a violation that they had several ready-to-eat foods past their sell-by date in the walk-in cooler. They've been provided with the necessary things, and they've went ahead and voluntarily discarded all the expired food. The Apple Market meat, that is the deli that had the expired food. The meat department in the same Apple Market had one non-priority violation that the fans were not clean. It has been a repeat violation, however. The Boyd School on 833 East Division Street in Springfield has one violation, as the sanitation of the dish machine was found with non-sufficient concentration. The education to them was given, and a reinspection has been scheduled. The Boys and Girls Club on the Henderson unit on 835 West Calhoun Street in Springfield had one violation, that a box of raw ground beef in the walk-in cooler with a use-by date of 12/11/225 was still in the freezer. The raw ground beef was voluntarily discarded and corrected on site. The Burger King on 935 West Kearney Street in Springfield has a violation that the onions and lettuce prepped on January 14th were incorrectly labeled with a prep date of 1/15. The education was provided, corrected on site. Denny's on 4760 South Campbell Avenue in Springfield has a couple problems going on right now. They observed 2 containers of whipped cream at 50 degrees Fahrenheit in a cold hold unit. 2 containers of whipped cream were discarded, and the manager plans to no longer store potentially hazardous foods inside the cold hold unit. The education was given. A couple other things. They observed the women's restroom door could not fully close. The restroom door shall be tight-fitting and self-closing is what the inspectors needed from them. And also the several ladles at that Denny's were heavily stained, and they were informed the utensils need to be cleaned to sight and touch. Einstein Bagels, unfortunately, on 1933 South National Avenue, was found with a small violation that the hand sink paper towel dispenser was empty. The inspector gave them education, and now the paper towels are available at the hand washing station. They were corrected, and everything was good. The second Einstein Bagels on 4430 South Campbell had a violation that observed a container of creamer marked for time as a control inside a cooler. It's potentially hazardous, marked for time as a control, and needed to be discarded. The creamer was then voluntarily discarded. The El Taco on 316 West Kearney Street had one violation, that the floors and walls by the fryer and stove area were not clean. El Taco has decided to increase their cleaning frequency to decrease buildup. The Eurasia Coffee and Tea Culture Cafe on 445 East Commercial Street has one violation, that they observed that there wasn't enough sanitation in the buckets, causing the floors and such not to be clean. They've went ahead and taken this action to increase their cleaning efforts. The Fazoli's on 2137 North Glenstone Avenue has been found of 2 violations. They observed that the utensils were not being cleaned, and they were found that containers of food were being stored below the 135 threshold for the hot box. They have since taken corrective action for this. The Golden Palace on 200 East Boone Street in Ash Grove has a violation that they don't have a test kit for their chemical sanitation. Everyone's favorite Mongolian grill, Hoo Hut, found at the Battlefield Mall, has 1 violation that raw shell eggs over veggies in the walk-in cooler were stored near the food, and the education was given, and the raw shell eggs were relocated to the walk-in instead. Jimmy's Egg on 3837 South Campbell Avenue was in violation of their cleaning glasses. Their drinking glasses were stacked while they were wet, causing mildew. The Kentucky Fried Chicken on 1808 West Battlefield Road has been scheduled for a re-inspection for the hot hold unit. The hot hold unit was holding holding 135 and above, but the violation over there has been corrected, so it looks like they got their stuff together. However, they found some other violations that they observed that the nuggets were not being kept hot enough, and the hand sink was broken. It's scheduled for repair pretty soon. The Longhorn Steakhouse on 3121 South Glenstone was found in violation of not properly cold holding a potentially hazardous food when the spinach dip, being cold, held in the pass-through cooler, read 54 degrees Fahrenheit. It is required that it stays at least 41 or below for sanitation and food safety. The spinach dip was then discarded at the time of inspection. The McDonald's on 1114 West Kearney Road was found in violation of 2 flat buns with discard time and date of 6:42 a.m., 1:14, and the breakfast burritos with a discard time of 7:07, and the gravy with a discard date of 1:13 were all found improperly dated. The foods were then discarded. And lastly, with the Price Cutter over there on Battlefield, the 3260 has a lot of violations. Oh my. The Starbucks in there observed that the sanitation and the 3-compartment sink exceeded 400 parts per million on the sanitation. The bakery was found in violation of debris on the floor, which was causing some safety hazards. They were found in violation of food and debris under the salad bar in the cold area. And they were found in violation of observed packaging of deli ham at the pizza station was past its due date. That's all for the violations. Back to you.
This article was presented Friday morning, actually Friday afternoon, so it has not been read. It's rather lengthy. It's from Springfield Business Journal, submitted by Mike Cullinan, reporter for the Springfield Business Journal. Officials unsure when marijuana rescheduling goes into effect. Marijuana businesses should see tax relief from the president's executive order. The executive order signed last month by President Donald Trump to reschedule marijuana is expected to eventually benefit businesses operating in that industry. However, the timeline for the federal government to act on the order remains murky, industry officials say. Trump's order, which he signed on December 18th, directs Attorney General Pam Bondi to take all necessary steps to complete the rulemaking process related to rescheduling marijuana to Schedule 3 of the Controlled Substances Act in the most expeditious manner in accordance with federal law. Marijuana is currently controlled under Schedule 1 of the CSA. Schedule 1 drugs are defined as drugs with no currently accepted medical use, a high potential for abuse, and a lack of accepted safety for use of the drug under medical supervision. Schedule 3 drugs are classified as having a potential for abuse less than the drugs or other substances in Schedules 1 and 2, a currently accepted and medical use in treatment in the U.S., and a potential for moderate or low physical dependence or high psychological dependence in the event of drug abuse. Other examples of Schedule 3 drugs include anabolic steroids, ketamine, and testosterone, according to the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration. Although the order doesn't change federal law, which prohibits marijuana from being sold or transported across state lines, it's a beneficial decision to Missouri businesses working in the weed industry, said Mark Hendren, president of the Humansville-based Flora Farms, LLC. Hendren, who said his vertically integrated company operates 12 dispensaries in the state, was slightly surprised by the presidential order. There have been conversations in the previous administration and this administration about rescheduling, but it kind of just faded from the spotlight, he said. And then we started hearing rumblings about a week before the order that something was coming, and lo and behold, there it was. Trump's order noted 40 states, including Missouri, as well as the District of Columbia, have state or locally sanctioned medical marijuana programs. It also pointed out that the U.S. Food and Drug Administration completed a review of the medical use of marijuana in 2023 and found scientific support for its use to treat anorexia related to a medical condition, nausea and vomiting and pain. Hendren said the order will provide marijuana companies with some tax relief and recognize medicinal benefits provided by its products. That allows for more research. That allows more investigation into all the things that cannabis can do, just like any other potential medicinal product on the market, he said. What it does for us as cannabis operators is it allows us to run our accounting and tax part of our business just like every other legal business. Andrew Mullins, executive director of the Missouri Cannabis Trade Association, said in a news release that marijuana has been listed as a Scheduled I drug since 1970, along with heroin, LSD, and ecstasy, because the federal government previously determined that there were no currently accepted medicinal uses for cannabis. Federal rescheduling of cannabis removes barriers and creates opportunity for the 40 U.S. states, including Missouri, that have legalized medical and or adult use cannabis. He said in the release, and no other state in the country is as well positioned as Missouri to take advantage of this reform, while continuing to bring our customers 100% Missouri-grown plant medicine in a safe, compliant way. Tax savings. Chip Shepard, attorney and chair of Cannabis and Marijuana Law Group at Carnahan Evans PC, said the reclassification could be huge tax savings, especially for dispensaries. Those businesses could now be taxed the same as any other retail business instead of paying taxes on gross profit. Right now, the dispensary can only write off its cost of goods sold, so it can only write off the cost it pays for marijuana that it buys from a cultivator or a manufacturer and a transportation cost, noting that everything else, including insurance, leases, employee costs, utilities, and security, have been irrelevant for tax purposes at dispensaries. Hendren agrees the reclassification should significantly help his company with federal taxes. Prior to this, essentially cannabis companies could not take deductions for what are ordinary business expenses that every other legal business gets to deduct before they pay their taxes. I don't like to talk about financials, but it's a significant amount of money, he said, estimating the tax savings could be in the 7 figures annually for Flora Farms. He declined to disclose annual company revenue. Regarding deducting some business expenses, it will be similar to what marijuana companies in Missouri are allowed to do upon November 2022, passage of Amendment 3 in the state. Amendment 3, in part, allowed for business expense subtractions for tax years 2022 and forward, according to the Missouri Department of Revenue. Prior to Prior to state voters approving Amendment 3, marijuana companies were prohibited from deducting business expenses on their tax returns. Flora Farms officials estimated in early 2023 the state tax change would result in roughly 25 to 30% additional costs, now deductible from a dispensary, according to past Springfield Business Journal reporting. On the state income tax level, we have been able to deduct ordinary business expenses, Hendren said, declining to estimate the annual tax savings. But as I'm sure you know, the bulk of the taxes we pay are federal. As for when the rescheduling will be enacted, Shepard said he's pretty optimistic it will occur in the first half of the year, probably as early as March. There's just so many things that could affect the importance of it just compared to other agenda items of this administration. He said, you just hope it doesn't get put on the back burner, because he clearly said in the executive order that this needs to be a top priority of the Justice Department to make this happen quick. This article was submitted to the Springfield Business Journal by Mike Cullinan, reporter, just last week. Tony.
Alrighty, thank you. In other news, Silver Dollar City becomes the backdrop for some Christmas movies. A national Christmas movie is transforming Silver Dollar City into a real-life holiday film set, turning one of America's most celebrated Christmas destinations into the backdrop for a great American media production. The film is using the park's 6.5 million Christmas lights and its 1880s-style streets to create what cast and crew describe as a ready-made Christmas world. Actor John Stoddard, who plays Jack McKay, a woodcarver who works inside the park, said filming in the Ozarks has exceeded every expectation. So far, everything's been incredible. The people are welcoming, the town is phenomenal, Stoddard said. Every single mile is scenery, mountains, lakes, just these beauties. Everything was so vibrant. Every single building radiating these beautiful lights and colors. It was cameras out, jaws on the floor, one of the most spectacular sights. Stoddard said the experience feels less like a set and more like stepping into a real Christmas story. The movie came together at breakneck speed, so quickly that producers didn't have a script at Thanksgiving. This is the fastest timeline I've ever dealt with, said producer Davey Hickey of Nicely Entertainment. We didn't even have a concept at Thanksgiving. Hickey said Silver Dollar City and the city of Branson, respectively, pitched the idea directly to great American media, sending a deck that showcased the park's Christmas festival and historic streets. They said this would be the perfect backdrop for one of your Christmas movies, Hickey said. To make the production possible, Silver Dollar City kept its Christmas decorations up long after the season ended, including all 6.5 million lights. For the park, the movie is both a milestone and a celebration of what makes the Ozarks unique. We always pretend that we work in a Christmas movie because it really feels like that, said Brandy Clifton, Silver Dollar City's publicity manager. To see a real movie come to life here in our 1880s streets fills our hearts with more joy than we could ever imagine. Clifton said fans may even spot familiar faces when the movie airs next Christmas, as several longtime park employees will make cameo appearances. The film is set to premiere next holiday season on Great American Media. Silver Dollar City leaders say they hope to host a red carpet event at the park so fans can watch the movies in the very place it was filmed. Back to you.
Missouri has a new approach to the rural health as they look at CMH this year. This is out of the Springfield Business Journal, shared by Kieran Crago just this past Friday afternoon. A federal allocation aims to transform health care in rural areas of Missouri by expanding a program already familiar to Polk Countyans. Through the federal Rural Health Transformation Program, Missouri Governor Mike Kehoe has secured $216 million for the first year, with the potential for more than $1 billion over a 5-year period. This year's allocation includes $100 million base allocation, with the remainder available in discretionary funding earned through a merit-based review process. Missouri's vision for using the funds is an expansion of the state's Transformation of Rural Community Health Care Initiative, called TORCH, and Citizens Memorial Hospital in Bolivar is one of the 6 rural hospitals participating in the program. According to Dave Dillon, Vice President of Public and Media Relations for the Missouri Hospital Association, CMH has distinguished itself through its innovative approach to the Torch program, and its model is serving as an example how the program might transfigure the state's approach to rural health care. Citizens is an amazing hospital that is very forward-thinking on a lot of things, Dillon said. He cited CMH end-to-end thinking about health care exemplified through the hospital's creative use of paramedicine, health workers, and social workers. That is what the local level could look like throughout the state, he said. A CMH official said CMH began its mobile integrated healthcare program using paramedics in July of 2023 and has done more than 2,500 visits with more than 600 patients. They will have a community paramedic go to patients' home and do vitals, make sure their medication is managed, or do handoffs to other social service providers, he said. It's cool and innovative stuff. It represents the future of doing health well. An important new term used in the program is community health worker, he said. It doesn't always look like a clinician. The use of paramedics is one way to expand the reach of health services, according to Dillon. It isn't going to solve every problem that exists in rural health, but it's a great running start to make initial investments to help the system work effectively, he said. The Rural Health Transformation Funds were granted by the Centers of Medicare and Medicaid Services, the agency within the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services that administers the Medicare program and partners with state governments to administer Medicaid. All states received some of the funding, but Missouri was in the top 10 of recipients by funding level. A December 29th announcement by Governor Kehoe and the Missouri Department of Social Services said the federal initiative aims to strengthen health care access, improve outcomes, and support innovative care in rural communities. Kehoe pointed out that the program leverages local efforts. Through Missouri's Rural Health Transformation Plan, we are supporting local partners who understand their communities and are positioned to deliver meaningful, lasting impact for future generations of Missourians, he said in the announcement. Program goals are to increase access to care while improving its quality, enhancing care coordination, and incentivizing long care sustainability to build a healthcare ecosystem for the state's rural communities. It will do this through collaboration among hospitals, clinics, community-based organizations, and local leaders, the announcement states. Shoring up rural health care is important not only for rural patients. According to John Myers, president of Mercy Springfield Communities, larger urban hospitals will also benefit. Springfield is a medical hub for the region, and when people can't get the services they need from rural hospitals, they come here. Myers said H.R. 1, the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, signed into law in 2025, cut over $1 trillion from federal Medicare spending over the next decade. While the money Missouri will get from the Rural Health Transformation Program is helpful, it's nowhere close to what hospitals across the state need, especially in rural communities where independent hospitals really find it difficult to stay in operation. Mercy Springfield Communities will face reduced Medicaid reimbursement through the legislation, according to Myers, but because of its size, it will be able to survive. For rural hospitals where 25% of their revenue is from Medicaid, the loss will be significant. That leads to patients losing access to care, Myers said. He added that many Missourians are already postponing necessary care or deferring care altogether that can land them in emergency department. While rural hospitals can run excellent emergency departments, there is only so much they can do, Myers said. Obviously, if we see more rural hospital closures and see more patients deferring care, they come into the hospitals in Springfield with more acute issues, he said. We're going to see more influx in emergency departments where wait time will increase. For Jenna Hicks, Director of Quality and Population Health at CMH, a key goal is to keep people out of emergency departments. Healthcare is a basic need of everybody, and having access to healthcare is paramount. Hicks noted that providers have to build trusting relationships with patients and be attuned enough to recognize issues that arise. That's not something that happens in an annual visit alone. In order to actually impact someone's health, people have to have access to healthcare provider and regular access. The rural person who doesn't feel well may have to travel 45 minutes or more to receive care. Throw in a car problem and that could put off their care for another week or more. By not engaging, they could suffer a stroke or heart attack or something else that truly disables them, she said. This is something that could have been prevented with easy local health care access. The need is much larger than physical, Hicks said, according to behavior and social factors like a safe living space or healthy family dynamics. That type of comprehensive care is only found with easy access and multiple touch points to develop relationships. Hicks, too, worries about the federal cuts to Medicaid. Rural health care is particularly dependent on public funding, she said. Anything that impacts public funding is in a negative way directly hurts rural health care. But Hicks says CMH is thankful for the opportunities provided by Rural Health Care Transformation Program, particularly now. She added that she is hopeful that in time the federal government will reconsider its funding decisions, but until then, the program will be helpful. Even if it's not apples for apples, it still aligns with the needs of rural health care, and it provides support to bridge a gap for at least the most immediate future. Hicks said the original TORCH program, which serves Medicaid patients, has been effective in Polk County, where Bolivar is located, and the Rural Health Transformation Program will allow the benefits to expand both in area and the people served. It takes the best part of TORCH, what we've learned, and adds to it. She said, from my perspective, CMH's perspective, we're very excited about the Rural Health Transformation Program. Hicks said challenges breed innovation. We have to think about how to do things differently, more than just the ask of doing more with less. The whole intention of the transformation program is to find ways to work smarter. Rural healthcare entities are uniquely suited for innovative strategies from the ground up. She added that while concerns remain about Medicaid cuts, the Rural Health Transformation Program offers incredible opportunities. We're thankful for it, and we are well suited for it, she said. It aligns with what we've already implemented, systems of care that keep folks healthy and don't just serve them when they're sick. This article was submitted to the Springfield Business Journal by Karen Crago this Friday afternoon. And back to Tony.
All right, with another article by Karen Crago, we've got apartments coming up for Springfield soon. The Springfield Planning and Zoning Commission approved the rezoning of 18 acres of undeveloped land at the Springfield Plaza site at its January 15th meeting. The Commission approved the rezoning of 18 acres of the property at 2000 South McCurry Avenue to medium-density multifamily residential with a conditional overlay from a planned development. The applicant, Springfield Plaza LLC, intends to build multifamily housing on the currently undeveloped land. Plans submitted to P&Z call for 21 three-story apartment building with a total of 421 residential units consisting primarily of 1 to 2 bedroom apartments. Sparling said the conditional overlay district limits development to 24 dwellings units per acre, though 28 are typically permitted in the requested zone. The applicant would be required to have 3 amenities for residents: a swimming pool, a residential clubhouse, and a sports court. Daniel Richards of Lee Engineering and Associates Incorporated spoke on behalf of the developer, whom he identified as a builder out of northwest Arkansas that has been active for the last few years. They are seeking to rezone this property and build some apartments for Springfield, he said. Springfield Plaza LLC is registered with the Missouri Secretary of State to Tim O'Reilly of 4045 East Sunshine State. The building that houses Spoke Hospitality LLC and O'Reilly Hospitality Management LLC. Springfield Plaza is located across West Bypass from the Sunshine Town Center and beside a Walmart Supercenter. According to the past Springfield Business Journal reporting, the commercial property is anchored by Ross Dress for Less, Burlington, and Michaels, and is co-developed by Tom Ranking of the SVN Ranking Co. In a June 2025 interview with SBJ, Ranking said of the area, retail follows rooftops. That area, when we started, had probably the highest concentration of new housing permits than any other part of the country. He said at the time that less than half of the potential 106 acres of Springfield Plaza had been developed at the time. A city council hearing is set for February 9th. The commission includes 3 new faces with Jennifer McClure, Christopher Solier, and David Jocques, replacing Betty Ridge, Christopher Lebec, and Bruce Colony, whose terms expired. Members of the commission are appointed by Springfield City Council to 4-year terms. Randall Doing was reelected as chair of the commission, and Dan Scott was reelected as the vice chair. Parcels totaling 726 acres of property near the Springfield Branson National Airport were unanimously approved for rezoning to heavy manufacturing from a county designation of agriculture. The applicant was the City of Springfield's Airport Board. The city zoning code does not offer an agricultural designation, according to the staff report by senior planner Michael Sparling. The property is described as being generally located to the north and southwest of the existing airport. Addresses are 2300 North Airport Boulevard, 5703 and 5995 West Farm Road 104, 3521 North Farm Road 115, 4043 North Willard Road, the 3900 block of North Farm Road 103, 4720 West State Highway EE, and the 5700 block of West State Highway EE. Sparling said the rezoning consolidates all airport property under one code with the airport operations as the primary one. He said the airport's master code was adopted in July 2024. A rendering submitted to the commission shows a new runway as a plan for the future, but Director of Aviation Brian Wheeler described that as a plan for the distant future. We have no specific immediate development that is spurring this, Wheeler said. We own most of the land for decades. We would like it to be all consistent. He said the runway envisioned for the property has been in the airport's master plan since 1971. We tend to plan out many decades ahead, he said. You need to do that for the airport because we're the airport and we're going to be serving this area for likely the next century or so. So we really can't own too much land. So we buy it. We protect it. But it's for future aeronautical development. The owner of the adjoining property at 6220 West Farm Road 94 raised a concern about the shift from agriculture to heavy industry. He suggested that the city offer an agricultural zoning designation to avoid the big change in the nature of the property. In the future, we have no way to change or correct this, he said. There's a few other items on the docket that the commission approved the rezoning of a half-acre property in the 1100 block of East Elm Street to renovate the New Way apartment unit, located beside Andy's Frozen Custard, to general retail with conditional overlay from high-density multifamily. The conditional overlay limits the property to residential uses. Despite the general retail designation, the measure is scheduled to appear before the City Council on February 9th. A request to approve rezoning of a half-acre property of 3005 West Chestnut Expressway to industrial commercial from general manufacturing was approved for the applicant ABC Supply Co. Inc., which seeks to operate retail sales uses on the property. The commission approved a subdivision variance to combine 2 driveways into a 26-foot wide entrance with one-way access from Jefferson Avenue, as requested by the Springfield RE Holdings LLC and Sister Properties LLC. The entrance will facilitate a bank drive-through and a bypass lane to go around the drive-through. According to Jack Meadows of the engineering company Archer Elgin, the drives currently in place serve 334 East Walnut Street and 417 South Jefferson Avenue. A street name change for the 200 block of East to the 400 block of West Blaine Street to Blaine Lane has requested by the Commercial Club for Springfield and directed to P&Z by City Council Mary Collette. President of the Commercial Club explained that the street name change is part of a rebranding effort for the area. Sometimes it's the little things that make a street stand out, she said. Eric Pauley praised the community effort behind the move. Commissioner Helen Gunther cast the sole no vote in the 8-1 recommendation after confirming the city would have to pay for the expenses of the name change. And lastly, a short-term rental appeal was denied for 1618 East Adams Street. Gunther and McClure cast the sole yes votes. Back to you.
Well, in the interest of culture, and this particular article is a sponsored article to the Springfield Daily Citizen. That the article is sponsored and presented by the Springfield Art Museum. Post was paid for and produced by the Springfield Art Museum. Daily Citizen newsroom was not involved in the creation of this content. The article states, or the headline states, why Springfield deserves a world-class museum. There's a picture here of the artist rendering of what the final outcome of this art museum improvement, enlargement, the actual museum itself would look like. For nearly a century, Springfield Art Museum has served as a gathering place, a creative spark, and a cultural anchor for our city. As we move towards our 100th anniversary in 2028, we find ourselves looking ahead, not simply to celebrate a milestone, but to set the stage for our next century of service. We believe Springfield deserves an art museum worthy of its people, its talent, and its future, a place that continues to be a cultural resource for our community for generations to come, for both residents and visitors alike. That belief is at the heart of our expansion and renovation project, a multi-phase effort that is already underway and already transforming what the museum can offer. But to finish the work our community has asked us to do, we need to complete Phase 2, and now is the moment to do it. A project shaped by community voices. This effort began long before any architectural drawings appeared. Across more than a decade of planning, through multiple strategic plans and the 2018 Master Plan, the development of Forward SFG, and our newest 2025 to 2029 Strategic Plan, Springfield residents have been remarkably consistent in what they want for their city and museum. People ask for bold and visionary ideas. People ask for a museum that serves as a regional cultural hub. People ask for a beautiful, inspiring public spaces and gathering places rooted in creativity and nature. People ask for a strong quality of place. People said again and again that good enough is not good enough. In short, the community set a high bar, and the museum needs to meet it. A museum that elevates Springfield into a regional cultural leader. Half of our visitors come from Springfield. The other half come from cities beyond our city limits, including 22% from surrounding communities like Branson and Joplin, and another 8% traveling from up to 150 miles away. The 150-mile radius represents 63% of Missouri's regional population and our biggest growth community. But if we want people to jump in the car and choose Springfield over Tulsa, Kansas City, or Bentonville, we must give them a compelling reason. This is where Phase 2 can really shine and strengthen our regional presence. It introduces the Beacon Gallery, a new architectural and artistic landmark on National Avenue, a new education wing and flexible program event space facing the expanded Hatch Lawn, dramatically expanded West Wing designed to serve as the community's front porch, and a seamless indoor-outdoor campus connecting art, nature, and gathering spaces in a way Springfield has never seen. These elements position Springfield more competitively among cities known for art and culture. So why the need for Phase 2 right now? Because delay costs us money and opportunity. Phase 1's construction is expected to near completion in fall of 2026. The further we get into construction, the more costly and disruptive it becomes to build Phase 2 later. In some cases, components are already installed would need to be removed or entirely reworked. and we are already drafting construction documents for Phase 2. With full funding, the project can be bid within the next 6 months, maintaining momentum and maximizing efficiency. Phase 2's total cost is $37.2 million, including soft costs. Here's what we've accomplished so far. $37.4 million raised to fully fund Phase 1. Over $3 million in private gifts already designated for Phase 2. To date, Museum has funded the project through diverse sources, including 41% from City of Springfield, 38% federal and state funds, 20% private funds, and 1% museum funds. To complete the museum our community has envisioned, we presented the Citizens Advisory Board in October 2025 to request $33.4 million from the 1/2 cent capital improvement sales tax, $15 million in fiscal year 27, and $18.4 million in fiscal year 28. This public investment leverages the private dollars already raised and ensures that Springfield reaps the full benefit of this transformative project. As our community leaders consider transformative projects for our city and region, the Art Museum stands in a unique position, fully designed, partially constructed, and prepared to advance immediately if funding approved. This is Springfield's moment. The founders who established this museum in 1928 could not have imagined the Springfield we live in today, yet their investment continues to enrich our community nearly 100 years later. We have the chance to leave the same kind of legacy, one that blends creativity, education, nature, and gathering spaces into a resource that strengthens Springfield for decades. Completing this project means giving every resident, every visitor, every student, every artist, and every curious passerby a place that reflects the best of who we are and who we want to become. The work has already started. The momentum is here. Springfield has asked for a museum that matches its aspirations, and we are ready to deliver it. This post was paid for and produced by the Springfield Art Museum in partnership of the Springfield Daily Citizen. The Daily Citizen newsroom was not involved in the creation of its content. This article was presented by the Art Museum in this Daily Citizen just this morning. Tony.
All right. Breaking news. An 88-year-old man has died, unfortunately, after a residential fire in Springfield on January 18th. According to the Springfield Fire Department, Norris Atkinson was later pronounced dead at the hospital after a fire around 5:30 in the morning on 500 block of South Bellcrest Avenue on Sunday. Firefighters found the home in heavy fire when they located Atkinson inside the structure. Crews worked to provide immediate medical care and transported him to Mercy Hospital, where he later succumbed to his injuries. The release indicates 2 other adult occupants were inside the residence who escaped through a bedroom window with assistance from neighbors. The individuals were reported to have no injuries. The Bureau of Fire Prevention investigated the incident and found the fire to be accidental. This would be the first fire fatality of 2026 in Springfield. Back to you.
And this from the Answer Man, Steve Pokin. The Answer Man. Dear Answer Man, there has been a lot of construction and remodeling going on for what seems like a few years at 1306 North Grant Avenue. It looks like it might be close to being finished. Someone has put a lot of time and money into this old building, which is an odd location in the middle of a neighborhood. Any interest into looking into what's going on? This was from Scott Martin of Springfield. It's a workshop for husband and wife Mick and Paige Whitcomb, who bought the building in February of 2022. Mick is an artist. It was constructed in 1906. The couple lives nearby in an old home they renovated. We feel strongly about improving historic buildings in the community, Mick said. The building was just in a state of disrepair, and we wanted to improve it and make it something that was a bit more attractive for the community. We work on it all when we can. It's not a business space. He sells his art at fine art shows across the country. I asked him about the little stage and drum set I saw. It's not an entertainment space open to the public either, he says. We have different family members that are musicians. It's a multi-purpose room where we can work on creative things, and friends and family can come by and share in that. Half a trolley car purchased in Memphis. Since buying the building, the couple has added a small extension at the rear. It has a front end of a trolley car coming out of the wall. We do an art show in Memphis, a city we really love, he said, and we had the opportunity to buy one of their old trolley cars that went back to the turn of the century, and we kind of recreated it for additional showroom. There's a really cool picture here of this building, and the trolley car looks like it's coming out of the back wall of the building. They just ripped the car in half, and I could imagine somebody else has the rear half of the car, he said. His art focuses on mechanical and scientific innovations in the 19th century, things like trolley cars, as well as manual typewriters. Just inside the windows are several old typewriters, which certainly caught the attention of this longtime newshound. This newshound being Steve Pokin. This is how Whitcomb describes his art. It's from his website. He's a Missouri-based artist who specializes in one-of-a-kind furniture and lighting made from architectural and industrial salvage. Mick travels the world sourcing unique materials for his artifacts line. Fixated on the American machine age and the advent of electric lighting, Mick converts mechanical and scientific innovations from the 19th century into utilitarian sculptures. Mick pairs actual objects from the 1800s with lighting technologies that are exact reproductions of Thomas Edison and Nikola Tesla's original inventions of the incandescent bulb and alternating current. There is a picture here of an old Remington typewriter, very old Remington typewriter, into which Mick has inserted and updated to an actual light, electric light. He also uses items from the 1800s and to the 1920s, such as telescopes, microscopes, weight scales, and tools used in electroshock therapy. He has a set of weights, a scale here, where on one side is some books and some weights, and on the other a clear bulb electrical light hanging down. It's super cool. They met in political science class at MSU. Springfield News-Leader in 2015 ran a story about Mick and Paige Whitcomb and Mick's art. They met in a political science class in Missouri State University. He was studying business and she was an English major, but later changed to art history. He was offered a job in Indonesia after graduation and took it. They lived there and then moved to Bali. After 2 years overseas, the couple returned and opened a storefront business for art in downtown Springfield. In 2014, Mick began creating his own art, including furniture. His building was once a home to a grocery store, but then a lawnmower business. The building has 3,058 square feet, according to records of the Greene County Assessor's Office. It was once a grocery store called Economy Market. I found ads from 1952 to 1969 for the grocery store at that address in the Springfield News-Leader and in Springfield Leader and Press. Later, the building was home to Rotocatlet Equipment and later Rotcat. It sold lawnmowers, riding mowers, chipper and shredders, and tillers. It also repaired lawnmower engines. I saw newspaper ads for the business from 1977 to 2005. The Whitcombs purchased the property from James Weifhaus, who owned the lawnmower business. Mick said it was being used for storage when he bought it. There is a picture of the building many years ago, back when it was the lawnmower business. This article again was submitted by Steve Polkin, the Answer Man, and submitted to the Daily Citizen just 6 hours ago. We're nearing the end, but there you go, Tony.
Thank you. In Eureka Springs, Arkansas, the Turpentine Creek Wildlife Refuge will add 3 rescued African lions from Honduras in the first ever relocation effort in the country. According to the Turpentine Creek Wildlife Refuge, 8 large felines were relocated from the Little French Key in Honduras for the first time in the country's history. 5 of the lions were transferred to the Carolina Tiger Rescue in Pittsboro, North Carolina, while 3 other lions named Cyrus, Juanito, and Zephora were taken to Turpentine Creek, where they arrived on Thursday, January 15th. The TCWR says the rescued lions went through multiple countries and traveled by ship, then by air, then across the American highways to make it to the sanctuaries. This mission represents everything the sanctuary works and stands for: international cooperation, compassion in action, and a future where rescued animals are given the lives they deserve, said Scott Smith, the TCWR vice president. After an unbelievable journey, these lions are finally home. The Turpentine Creek Wildlife Refuge says this journey would not be possible without the lions' previous caretaker, Leo Lahijani, whose desire to see a better future for the animals in his care helped move the initiative along. This rescue has been years in the making, driven by a deep responsibility to secure the best possible future for these animals, said Leo, Little French Key Resort leadership. From the beginning, our focus was on proving outcomes and finding partners with the experience and integrity to provide a lifelong career. Working alongside Turpentine Creek and Carolina Tiger Rescue made it possible to move forward with confidence, knowing the lions and tigers would be placed in sanctuaries where their well-being, dignity, and long-term care come first. The reallocation efforts were also helped by the Honduran environmental authorities and international partners, including the Honduran Institute of Forest Conservation, veterinarian professionals, and logistics team. For Cyrus, Zephora, and Juanito, the result is simple and profound: safety, space, and a lifetime of care at Turpentine Creek Wildlife Refuge. Back to you.
Commercial Street is very active in cafes and various shops. This little article, Commercial Street Cafe debuts alpha-gal syndrome-friendly menu, a subject that just is gaining momentum all the time. Folks with alpha-gal syndrome, a potentially life-threatening food allergy to red meat and animal products that often manifests after a tick bite, have a new place they can eat without fear. Van Gogh's Eatery, spelled Eeterie, at 334 East Commercial Street. The restaurant is open 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Friday and 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Saturday, 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Sunday. According to the Instagram post, the menu includes both breakfast items as well as lunch and dinner menus, all of which avoid ingredients that trigger allergic reactions to those with alpha-gal syndrome. The restaurant asks that those with dietary restrictions or allergies let their server know before ordering. Items include an egg scramble with sautéed mushrooms, tomatoes and arugula with chips and cider fruit, a house salad with greens, cucumber, tomato, red bell pepper, and pesto or house vinaigrette with the option to add chicken or shrimp, sautéed salmon fillet or shrimp with a choice of 2 alpha-gal friendly sides, like sautéed carrots, fries and fruit, and hummus with carrots, celery, and chips. Thank you for listening today to the Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service. I keep wanting to say radio. The radio reading service. Tune in every week, Monday through Friday, to the Blind Community Thrift Store's YouTube channel at 10 a.m. for more up-to-date news from the Springfield News-Leader, Springfield Daily Citizen, Springfield Business Journal, and the 417 magazine. Listen after we are live on the Audio Reader Network at www.reader.ku.edu. All broadcasts are played over KSMU's subcarrier airwaves at 67 kilohertz on 91.1 from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Contact Audio Reader Network for information on receiving a pre-programmed radio. It's been our pleasure, Tony and mine, to read for you today. Have a great day. And that's all we have for you today.
The time is 12 p.m.
Right on time. I don't know, I kind of like the term radio because we're reading the radio. Audio, radio, radio.